MW, it's Melissa.
And Stephanie Kirkache, two sisters and the founders of Millennial Women.
And your host of the Mini Talks. We're so excited to introduce to you today our next MW, Nyeema Carmichael.
Nyeema is the founder and CEO of Paradise Organix, an all-natural self-care line making a huge impact on the internet.
When Nyeema noticed a change in her treasured locks after childbirth, she took to her kitchen, used her holistic knowledge, and created a solution not just for herself, but for so many. Please welcome Nyeema Carmichael. Hi Nyeema, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Awesome. So Nyeema, being a woman in Atlanta, being an entrepreneur, killing the game with Paradise Organix, today it's amazing, but that wasn't always your start, right? Every entrepreneur's journey, got to start from the bottom, now we're here. Could you bring us back from the moment of sort of thinking, I think I can do this business, and kind of walk us through that journey?
Absolutely. So it was one afternoon, I was so exhausted. This had to be a few months after I had my son, and I was new mom, and I was kind of doing this on my own because I lost my mom when I was really young. So, I mean, I had the support of my son's father's mom, but she didn't live in Miami at the time because at this time I was still in Miami. And it was so hard. and going through, I would say, I think it was postpartum depression. I never was diagnosed, but when I see now what postpartum depression is and what I was feeling, it kind of mimicked that. And not only that, my body had changed. I couldn't fit a lot of the things I could before. I didn't have the lifestyle. I couldn't get up and travel like I was before. And most importantly, one thing that makes us feel woman is our hair. And my hair began to fall out. And everybody who's known me known I had long, beautiful hair. And it was like one of those things like, oh, Nyeema, yeah, with the long hair. So I'm like, if I've already lost my body, my shape, and I'm going through all these emotional changes, I'm now losing the one thing that kind of gives me my it fit, and I was so stressed about it. And I was like, I just decided in that moment I wanted to take control of myself. I wanted to regain control of my life and what was going on with my hair. So my father's a herbalist. He's been for 50 years. He has reversed lupus. He's reversed diabetes, you name it, he can treat it. And I'm like, I was raised in this. I know the formula to my problem. So I got with my dad. So between sitting hours with my dad and my own research and doing my different measurements and everything, I came up with my magic juice, my potion. And I said, I'm going to use this. And I started using it where I was experiencing the hair loss. And within 3 weeks, the hair was growing back. And before I knew it, within 3 months, I had my thick, full hair again. And I told my girlfriends about it, and they were like, I need some of that. And they started using it, and they were seeing results. And I was like, I can make this a thing. I'm passionate about it. I love to help people. I love to heal. It's always been a part of who I am. So why not offer this to people out there? And I say when I moved to Atlanta is really when I got the courage to do it. And all I had was $200 in a dream. I always say that because that's literally my last $200. It was either this or diapers. And I used that $200, and that first week I sold out. And ever since then, it has grown beyond just the root stimulator. I now offer feminine health products, offer skincare products, and the hair care products.
Nyeema, so you had this dream. And honestly, we all have dreams, right? And I think if we think about our dreams too much, we can totally talk ourselves out of it. I mean, if you think about something too much, you're just not going to do it. But what I find it interesting is that your dream was something that wanted to get into the beauty industry, right? And let's be honest, it's very oversaturated, right? And sometimes we attach ourselves so much to our dreams because we are unique in our own dreams, right? But when it's like out there, product-wise, one can say it's not unique, right? In the industry kind of talk. How can you... Or can you share with us the mindset that you had to have in order to continue pursuing something that there was, quote unquote, so many of already?
So I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of my apprehensions with going into hair care products and skincare. I was like, it's so many companies. is even though, my products are organic and 100% natural, it's so many companies even in that sector. And I had to really think about it, and it was like, okay, there's Nike, there's Reebok, there's Adidas, and they decided to still pursue their dream and say, hey, I believe that I'm the best sneaker company, and I don't care about what Nike is doing and what Reebok is doing. So you kind of have to have that tunnel vision, and you have to remember like you said, everyone is unique. So what is that one unique thing that you're going to bring to your brand or bring to your product? And that's kind of what kept me focused. It was like, I wanted to be able to touch mothers and women who were just like me, one, and I wanted to create a product that in this organic and natural wave, everything's so expensive. So I wanted to show people you can still take care of yourself. You can go the natural or organic route, and it can be affordable. It can be affordable to the single mom, to the working class mom, even to the mom who's a student as well. I wanted everybody to be able to have a piece and be able to use my product and not feel like they're spending their life savings, because organic and natural can get very expensive. So that was kind of like my mission and goal, that this is what's going to set me apart. I'm going to make a product that everyone can afford, that is certified organic ingredients, and you don't have to question the results. You know that, one, I also use this product, so you're going to get the results. And just keeping that tunnel vision and knowing what my goal was kind of what I used to kind of separate myself in this saturated environment.
Yeah, 100%. And I love your honesty for that, and I wish that more women could understand that, that you are unique in what you're creating, and you do have to have a tunnel vision, but you just put the best analogy together of Reebok and Nike and Adidas.
Right.
Like, you're 100% correct.
Yes, they don't care. They're like, okay, so Nike did this. I don't care. I'm going to do this. And you got to know that you're going to have your moment. If you stay focused and you really are truly doing it from the passion of your heart, and you're putting everything in, you'll have your moment. Like, look, Adidas now has Kanye, and Kanye is huge. Kanye could have went to Nike. I mean, Nike is already huge, but you're going to have your moment, like, okay, this is my it factor. This is my wow moment. So you just have to really stay focused and have that tunnel vision, like, I'm going for the goal, and I don't care who else is running this race. I'm in my own race with myself,
And I love that. That's so powerful.
I love that.
Naima, you mentioned your dad, which I love. What kind of role did your dad play in you really going all in and creating these types of products?
Well, like I said, my dad has been a herbalist and healer for over 50 years. And, ever since we were little, we never really even went to the doctor. I can probably count on my hands how many times we've been sick, because I was also raised vegan. So I've never eaten meat. So like our whole lifestyle was just very different. And he has been an entrepreneur for the majority of his life. I know since he was 21, according to the story he tells. But he was always like, I'll support you no matter what you do. But whatever you do, make sure you're doing it in love, and make sure you're doing it to heal and help. If you're not doing it to help and heal your fellow woman or fellow man, then the money isn't enough. It won't sustain you. You'll get tired of it. You're going to get wore out. I mean, even if you go to school and you get an education and you're not in the right field, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get worn out. But when you're pursuing something that he always said, when you're pursuing what you love and you're doing what you love, even if your money changes, you won't even really feel it. And you'll always have enough to get by because you're in your passion. So his influence and just speaking those words and seeing him in that, a lot of times parents are not do what they say, like their actions don't match up with their words all the time. So it's like, I don't care if I'm doing it. You don't do that. He is really a man that I say he's my best friend, who I'm like, you know what? My dad said I can do this. I can do this. Like when I decided, I was like, I don't want to go back to work. I want to do this. He's like, are you doing it in love? Is it your passion? Are you healing? Are you helping? Then go for it. So that is one thing that I have garnered from him outside of just his knowledge about, all the different healing herbs and just how to touch people, and how to make it be more than a product. And I always wanted my product to be personal. And, I want you to, when you use it, you feel like, okay, there's a little piece of me at your house. You know what I mean? So that's definitely why.
Naima, let's talk about toxic products. There's so many products available to us on the market. But what is interesting, I'm going to take it one more time, sorry. Like distracted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Naima, let's talk about toxic products that are out there in the market for us. What I find so interesting now is that the conversations that are happening, it's like we're becoming more aware of the products that are out there and what we are using, which I personally love. What do you think is fueling this more conscious consumer mindset?
I would definitely say social media plays a big part, and the celebrities who have decided to kind of switch up their lifestyles. Like, I mean, especially in marketing and, you know, different things you learn in different courses. If someone who is popular is doing it, it's going to become a fad and everybody's going to try it. So I'll definitely say the vegan thing kind of really shot up when remember Beyonce and Jay-Z kind of announced that they were going vegan. They were going to do it for like a week. Then everybody was trying the vegan thing. And as these products in stores, and like if you notice like certain products that are not so healthy are now trying to play on that healthy market. Like, well, we have this version and it's non-GMO, and whatever they can do to kind of grab, you know, that health conscious person or that person who's trying to become health conscious. I think it's because of social media and how a lot of things are fads. But why I think it's sticking a little bit longer with this is because even though people are making these small changes, they're actually seeing the difference in their bodies or in their health, or definitely like even blood pressure, just small things, you know, small day-to-day things. When they notice that when they change their diet or they do try this, they feel a lot different. And they're actually getting something beneficial from following this fad. I can say, to me, that's why, you know, they're kind of grasping to this natural and organic thing in such a toxic, you know, environment, because they actually are benefiting from it. And they want to be down. Like, I'm going to just be honest. You want to be down with the in crowd. So if Beyonce is vegan, I'm vegan, girl. Like,
I love that, though, because it's a step that we all have to take, right? Because we're talking about health now.
Right.
And so I'm loving that, you know, whether it be a fad, whether it be a trend, whatever, that it is sticking, because we need to be conscious. That conscious awareness of what we're intaking, what we're putting on our skin, what we're using on our hair. You know, Mel, you walked into the office the other day and her hair's breaking, and we're just trying to figure out, okay, it was the shampoo. When you read all those ingredients, you're like, what is this?
I'm glad you said that. I tell even my customers or clients, or if people come to me for consultations, I'm like, take a product, anything, even if it's something that you eat, whatever in your house, and Google that product and say, what else is this ingredient, you know, a part of? And this one, like even some maxi pads, like not the shoe always, but the same substance in always pads are used in tires. So I'm putting that on such a, you know, intimate part of my body that is connected to my womb, that is connected to inside of me, that can cause infertility. And it's just connected to so many different things and fibroids that women suffer with. And it's like, but I'm using this in a maxi pad. And they're like, well, it's okay because we're using it in a different way. But really, it's not. It's the same thing that you're putting in tires. You know what I mean? So
it's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing. And we're hearing what you just said, infertility, fibroids, so many things affecting us as women. And, you know, we just need to be a lot more conscious, because unfortunately, FDA is approving everything over here in America. Like, let's be honest.
Being in the business of products, as long as you can afford an FDA approval, you're going to be FDA approved. That's just the honesty in it. Like, just to be honest. That's why when I was even doing my product verification and I was deciding, am I going to do certified vegan or am I going to do the FDA approved route? And when I was looking, I was like, I'd rather pay certified vegan, so you can know these products are certified vegan versus a FDA approval that anybody can get. As long as you can afford it. Even if there's something in a product that's a little toxic, just like a little, well, as long as it's not over 40% toxic, they will approve it. As long as you're going to pay for that extra level of toxicity. That's crazy to me. It is. And so you really, I'm glad you mentioned that too. You got to be careful, because sometimes you can't even, you know, FDA, okay. So, yeah, you know what I mean? They don't really care about your health. They care about the check, honestly.
Wow. That's so crazy. And thank you for creating such a fantastic line that is really breaking barriers and helping so many of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do love that, it's really going into homes, and, we're just trying to look at numbers and see, I was thinking about going into Target because we got the Target approval. And so we're just trying to get in stores, but when you see all of these smaller, like, these brick and mortars are going out of business, like not Target, I'm sorry, but like Charlotte Russe just went out, JCPenney. So it's like online is kind of the way to go right now, unless you're doing like a Amazon or on another online big retail. You know what I mean?
100%. Naima, I want to touch on something that, Steph and I, we've been hearing a lot about the natural hair movement, and you've spoken about in the beginning of the conversation on how your hair was you, everybody identified you by your hair. And Steph and I really want to understand the natural hair movement, coming from your own words and your thoughts on that. Do you mind speaking a little bit about that?
Definitely. The natural hair movement is this big movement. I'm so glad that it is happening, right? But a lot of women, especially African American women, are just becoming more conscious about the products that they're putting into their hair. I'm not sure if you guys know, but especially for African American women, the perm was like the thing. But perms are extremely damaging, not only to the hair, but we have pores in our head. So what you put into your hair can also leak into your brain, can also, perms have caused like brain cell damage in some women. And you name it, like some of these perms, sprays, gels, chemicals, they have a very high chemical base. And so women were realizing, maybe it's better for me to go the natural route and treat my hair naturally and still get these styles and still get be able to manipulate, but with a safer product, something more natural and something more healthier for my hair. And I think women are becoming more comfortable in their own skin. And that is one of the beautiful things about the natural hair movement, because it's okay to say, I don't care what Vogue or Essence or whatever magazine says, I'm comfortable with everything about me, with my natural hair. I don't mind my curls, and I embrace my curls, and I don't feel like I have to fit this standard of what beauty is anymore. And I think, especially, I don't know if you guys heard, in New York, they just passed that law where, your natural hair, however you decide to wear it, curly, kinky, whatever, is now allowed. It can't be banned for certain jobs. Like at certain jobs, they were saying you had to have straightened hair, or your hair had to be a certain look, even certain schools. And so now they passed this law in New York where they can't not hire you based on your hair. They can't refuse you from charter schools and private schools based on your hair. And that's a beautiful thing. Just knowing the diversity in women, and now women embracing their diversity versus feeling like they have to conform to what the norm of natural beauty is. You know what I'm saying? Or what a beautiful woman is. They know that I am beautiful regardless of the curl or the kink of my hair. So I'm glad, because now there's so many products, and women are becoming enlightened and knowing, hey, whether my hair is straight, curly, kinky, whatever texture I was born with, it's okay. And I'm going to find a product that's healthy for my hair versus that's more so to manipulate the hair. You know what I mean?
This is what I love about these mini talks, right? Just the chance to speak and just try to understand, because when you mentioned something like New York passing this law that it wasn't allowed before for a woman to wear her natural hair is mind-blowing. And we get caught up in our own communities, right? Because I'm in Miami, my family is from my culture, and we don't know what's happening on the other side, right? Unless we ask, unless we open up this conversation, and you so graciously and willingly to explain to us.
Definitely, because that's all it's about, because there are things that you guys can teach me about your culture and about your hair where I can make a product. It's like, okay, well, this doesn't work for my hair texture. Maybe, certain products that will curl my hair will probably not curl your hair. So then I know, okay, so I can create a natural product. And it's the beautiful thing about diversity and having friends and women in all different walks of life, because you get to trade information, you get to learn. And even with I have a coming product, it's like a curl pudding, and it's 3 different types based on your texture. So women who have a curlier a tighter curl, a softer curl, straight hair, you naturally straight hair, this is the product that's going to naturally give you a nice curl. So I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have friends who were Hispanic, or friends who were white, or friends, who were Chinese. That diversity in women is so important, and it's so beautiful to be able to just not get offended by differences and embrace our differences and come together and like, okay, we can create this whole globe of amazing hair for everybody.
You just hit it on the nail. It's not getting offended by our differences, because fundamentally we're all so much more alike than we are different. I say this in every episode because it's true. It's so true. Naima, thank you so much. I also want to ask you, how can we be more of an advocate and supporters for this natural hair movement?
I would say by continuing to do what you're doing now, embracing diversity and asking questions that you may think is uncomfortable, but need to be asked. As a friend of mine is like, she's like, don't get offended I'm like, no, ask your question. I'd rather you ask me and I explain, because if I can tell you guys a story, it was so crazy because instantly I kind of got mad at her. It wasn't my friend, it was a coworker, but at that time I still had my locks, my really long locks. She was like, do you wash your hair? So I was like, and she was Hispanic, so I was just like, girl, no, of course I wash. Do you wash your hair? I'm like, this is like part of our everyday life. So then I just had that moment. I was like, you know what? Maybe she just does not know. So I had to explain to her. I was like, yes, I wash my hair, and this is how I take care of my hair, and I use shampoo. She's like, oh, because a friend of mine told me the way they make locks is they use dirt and they roll their hair together. And I was like, no, that's not how it goes. This is how we take care of our hair. So the next time your friend, I said, make sure now that you have this information, you go educate your friend. And that is, we pass on information like, hey, I learned this and that. Did you know this? So that way we can kind of kill the ignorance about certain things. And even, and I hate to get into this thing, even with racism, I feel like it's taught. People aren't born racist. My son's friends are not all African American because their parents didn't teach them that there is anything wrong with having friends in different cultures and different races. So I think we need to just educate, hey, that person is different. This might be different, but that doesn't make them a bad person. The more we educate ourselves and be open to hearing things that sometimes don't always make us comfortable. Because sometimes people are not always trying to offend. They just really don't know. You know what I mean?
I'm so glad that we're able to talk about this. And like Steph said, you've been so openly and gracious to talk to us about this. And thank you, because now we understand a little bit better. And yeah, mind blown with the New York thing. I had no idea that even existed. That's insane. And I think that if we could have more conversations like this and be more open about these topics, this is how we can create real change, right? And we can start to stop these labels and stop holding people back from being who they want to be and just support each other, right? And I love that you had touched on that. So thank you for sharing that.
Definitely, yes. We really have to, as much as we can, like the point is, nobody's going to be extinct, hopefully, anytime soon. So we need to definitely work together and embrace the diversity, especially in womanhood and with women. Because the reason I started my feminine care product line was because we all have the same issues. We, at the end of the day, regardless of our nationalities or our colors, we all have wombs. We all, women are facing fibroids. Women are having infertility issues, no matter what your walk of life is. And that is one of the things that made me so passionate about, getting into deeper into the feminine care line and the feminine health line. And I even started like this group, and it's about 500 and something women in it. And it's a Facebook group. And all we talk about is vaginas. I'm sorry, I don't know. All day. And they ask their questions. They go to hey, I went to the doctor. This was my results. Is there anything that I can do naturally? And I'm very, because I'm in contact with two of the top female GYNs in Atlanta, I have a reference point. So I can always say, hey, this is something that needs modern medicine. You are beyond the point of herbal healing. You need to go to a doctor. this surgery needs to be done. I believe that it's a combination of both, especially for women. It's all about timing. How early have you caught this? What, and the great thing about working with these doctors is that they're open to natural and alternative medicine as well. They don't completely shun it. A lot of doctors nowadays are like, no, this natural. No, they're like, hey, yeah, there are things you can do to naturally, make your vagina healthy and naturally avoid fibroids or cut down or shrink them. There are, but how far are you in your journey? If you are to the point where it's causing excessive bleeding or you may need surgery, for your post-op, we can do natural things to help you heal. But right now, you're going to have to get some kind of surgery because you're beyond the point, So I think that is one of the best things about, like I said, about diversity, because the main doctor, I used to work for her before I went full time, because I've been doing my Paradise Organics for 3 years, but I've really been full time a year and a half. And I told her, I was like, I've learned so much, but I'm ready to step out. And she was like, girl, I got your back. You want to offer my patients your products? She put my products on her website for her patients as, alternative healthy vaginal wash. Use this. It's chemical free. So just the support from her, even opened me up to a whole new clientele of clients who were not all African American, who a lot of the patients that I got from her were women, white women. And they even were opened up to a new world. And that's why I said diversity and womanhood is so, so important, because it just brings us closer. You know what I mean? And we need that kind of all around unity.
100%.
I love that.
Naima, I know that you can't speak for all the millennial women of Atlanta, but what do you think are the challenges millennial women are facing in Atlanta today?
I would think one of the challenges they face is that this is a really male-dominated city in a lot of areas, especially for business and entrepreneurs and growing businesses. And it's like getting your foot in certain doors may be harder if you're a woman in Atlanta. So it's really important to have your network be your net worth. You know what I mean? Who you're talking to, and garnering with other women and saying, hey, we're going to come together and we're going to create women empowerment seminars. And we're like, just like you guys with this platform, it's just amazing. We need this, because women sometimes, especially in Atlanta, because it is oversaturated here, especially with the natural hair community and just hair care products and skincare, period. It is oversaturated. So being able to have that group of women and men who support these women, who say, hey, yeah, I'm all for women in business, and they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say offended, but they're not intimidated by the strength of a woman, So that is definitely a challenge here, is, being that it's male dominated, kind of breaking past that barrier and saying, hey, I'm a woman, but I'm just as strong as you, and I'm going to do this too. So that is one of the issues that I have faced personally.
Yeah, and I love that you gave a solution, and it's we need to come into community. We need to support each other. The more of us that come into and unite, we can triumph together, and I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Naima, life is a journey, right? It's a lot of ups and downs, but that's what makes life. That's how we grow. I love to ask this question. Naima, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, what were you waiting on? Like, girl, do it now. Don't wait. And I've always had that, entrepreneurial spirit, but I just was so good at making other people's things grow. Like a friend of mine who had a business at the time, she left her job, and I was like this support system for her. I was still working, but I was doing all her Excel, her numbers, making sure her inventory was good. Like, I was doing all this. And she was like, oh my God, what would I do without you? Even when I worked at the hospital, it was like I was doing the marketing. She would, when my doctor started offering this new product to her patients, I was the one that was the muscle behind it. I put together the marketing. I did the Facebook. I did this. And so I've always been that person. Like, if you give me this, I'm going to make it grow. I'm going to make sure you succeed. Even when I worked when I was in Miami and I was working at FPL, like, I at 21, I moved up the ladder so fast because I've always been a person of 100%. And what can we do? What can I do different to make this a part of me? So people can say, even if I'm not in this role, when Nyeema did it, it was like this and it worked and she left a stamp. So we're going to follow this. We're going to follow this order. Then I was like, you know what? I could do this for myself. Like, I'm doing it for everybody else. And so that's when I kind of decided to go 100% full-time entrepreneur, and I left my job because now that I'm seeing it, it has its struggles. And some days, some days I'm like, okay, well, the sales weren't that good, but I still had a good day. Whereas, at work, sometimes you look at it like, I had a horrible day. I still made the same amount of money. My money may not change, but some days can just be horrible and draining, and you can't even leave to take your son to the doctor, and you have to worry about coverage, and just to not have certain stresses, and even traffic is a stress. The trade-off, money couldn't buy the peace. Money could never surpass the level of peace that I have working for myself. So I would definitely tell my younger self, girl, what are we waiting on?
I love that. I really love that. And it's so valuable what you just said. Money doesn't put a price on your, honestly, I would say on your mental, emotional, and life, just like
your
all
peace,
the stresses.
what you said. Money can't buy you peace.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
That was very, very powerful, Nyeema. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thanks.
And what's next for you? What's next for Paradise Organic?
A lot, right? I'm an Aries, so I swear, if you see...
Me too!
Girl, so every day we wake up and there's a new idea. I want to do this. And, I had to work really hard on focusing and not procrastinating. So I'm, really happy about that. But what's next is definitely I'm putting together some Love Your Lotus tours. So I'm doing a tour where I'm gonna visit my most popular cities where the support is. So probably about 5 or 6 cities, and I'm gonna do a full women's health, feminine health seminar. So it'll be kind of like retreat style. So it'll be 2 days. We'll be in a cabin or wherever we are. It's 2 days. And you're going to walk away with knowledge, products, and just overall feeling better about knowing who you are as a woman inside and out, And so that is next for Paradise Organics. And then the following year, we'll be doing a tour, Love Your Lotus tour, all women's tour. So that's coming. Hopefully, I'm still trying to decide on whether or not we're going to put the products in store. But that's also another thing on the horizon. And I'm just looking to grow. My goal really is to have a natural alternative to every product that we use on a daily basis. So just like I have the eczema cream, I have the feminine wash for women, I have the hair growth oil. I just want to be able to, on every platform, offer at least one natural alternative to people and men, because men, they need stuff too. So I have a beard line for them. So I really want to expand on them as well. Let me focus on them and give them some more stuff. They always swear we don't think about them, right? So definitely that's what's next for Paradise Organics, and just looking for growth, and definitely to diversify my customer base. That is also a big focus right now for this year.
That's amazing. Nyeema, what you have created and all the work that you're doing is inspiring us and so many. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and for everything that you do. We're cheering you on from Miami.
Totally. Supporting you, girl. You're doing amazing things.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, and most importantly for creating this platform. It is so necessary, and I love your passion, and I love your willingness to learn and share with other women how important millennial women are, and just the challenges and faces. And this also lets women know that even if you're home thinking about it, it's possible. Whatever your passion is, wherever you're trying to move up on the ladder in your job, we got your back. We gonna do this together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Nyeema,
for your kind words. That means a lot.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
If you want to learn more about Nyeema and Paradise Organics, please follow them on Instagram at Paradise Organics and ParadiseOrganics.com.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mini Talks. Brand new episodes air every Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, IGTV, as well as wearemillennialwomen.com. While you're there, don't forget to leave us a comment.
Until next time, MW.
Always love,
Melissa
and Stephanie Kirkache.